Chris Babin joins us now for some tips for small business owners. Today we're talking about profit margins and how to determine one that's right for your business. But first, Chris, you are going to be joining us every Thursday now, every week. So let's get to know you first.
Yeah, sure. President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau. I've been there just over 4 years now, and you know, consumer education is a big thing for us. You know, we do a lot of features with scams and things to help empower, you know, Acadiana's consumers and businesses against losing their time and money and even their personal identifiable information. But what we wanted to focus on with you guys' help during this segment is tips for businesses or consumers that aren't necessarily scam related, but good things to look into as they help to improve businesses.
And one of those things is profit margins, which we'll talk about today. So first, for those who might not be familiar with the business world, what's a profit margin and why do we need to pay attention to it?
Yeah, so profit margin basically is your revenue minus how much it costs to produce that revenue. There's two different kinds of profit margin. Gross profit margin is your total revenue, total income, minus what's called cost of goods sold. So the cost to actually produce that income. Now your net profit margin is once you have to calculate in salaries, rent, and other expenses that the business has. The reason you want to keep an eye on it is because if the business is not able to make money and turn a profit at the end of the year or through, you know, at the end of its calendar, then the business is losing money and is not going to be able to sustain itself.
And obviously knowing your profit margin is really important for any business, small or large. So how can these business owners calculate their profit margin?
So the easiest way to go about it is, for one, to make sure that your financials are being calculated properly, because our financials are only as good as the input that, you know, the information that we input into it. So if we're not allocating things properly to cost of goods sold or expenses, then it's hard to tell at the end of the day what kind of money we're making and if we're making money at all. And the biggest thing right now for businesses with inflation over the last year is to make sure that they're reevaluating part of their budget and those margins and reevaluating what it takes to actually produce the income that they're bringing in.
Now, let's say you're speaking with a business owner, they know what their profit margin is now. What do they need to then do? Whether they know that it's high or low, then what do you do?
So the industry that they're in a lot of times dictates, you know, what a good profit margin is, that net profit margin. 5 to 10% net margin at the end of the year might be something acceptable in some industries, and other industries might need, you know, 15, 20, 25%. Obviously, the higher net profit margin you can have, the better, but see what the industry standards are and see where your business stacks up. Now, if you're ahead of that and have a higher percentage net profit margin, then you're doing well. If you're below that, then you might need to look at some ways either to increase income or decrease some of those expenses.
Now, the Better Business Bureau obviously has so many different resources for businesses and homeowners, everything like that, so many different tips, which we will get to. We'll have a different topic each week. But for those interested in reading more on profit margins or some of the other topics that you guys have, how can they learn more?
Yeah, so if you go to bbb.org, we have a business resources page. On there, all of the tips, everything that we'll discuss each week, there's a full article there with links and different things to help businesses out. And it's all on our bbb.org page. And if anybody has a question, they're like, I'm not sure where to find it, I need information on something outside of that, then give us a call, 337-981-3497.
bbb.org if you would like to learn more. Again, you can find what we discussed today on there as well as lots of other resources. That's bbb.org.